Hello everybody, welcome. It's of course Cape Rugby TV time. Time for us to talk a little bit about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Big thanks of course to our partners on board with us, Score Energy Drinks. You can see them there behind me in all their glory. Of course you can win yourself a case of Score during the course of the show. Thorburn Specialized Services, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV, and they are your one-stop shop, in fact, for sporting events, sports sponsorships, logistics, everything that you need for a sporting event, and of course, MChem 24-hour pharmacy. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Back on the show with me this evening, Jerome. Nice to have you back.
No, JP, good to be back again.
That time of the week again.
Yeah.
Talking club rugby.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. It was quite an interesting week,
Yeah.
a weekend.
It had. Faisal Felton, welcome back.
Good evening, JP. Good evening, listeners. Always good to be back.
Well, it's nice to have you back. You've had your hands full in the last few weeks.
No, definitely. I think it's been a sort of a jam-packed couple of weeks, and that there not so much club rugby, but a lot of other things happening around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always good to be back.
Do you guys get very busy when it's test match? Test matches and so on at the Cape Town Stadium. Do you have to be hands-on?
Look, from our side, there's more support. from the union side, but I think it's the other stuff. We had Craven Week that took place. The logistics, putting everything in place, and that there. So we've got the World Cup that's taking place.
You had some women's rugby festivals.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff happening outside of also club rugby that we've also got to focus and look at.
And you also played a supportive role in the last couple of months for the women's rugby teams that were playing test matches. Yeah.
Yeah, so
there's been a lot of things.
No, definitely. I think with the training camps with the ladies, we've had preparation and planning. The ladies are off to Japan. I think from province's side and at the wherever we can, we help, we assist, and we support. And at the I think we've got a lot of players that are part of that squad.
I also saw Faisal at the Craven Week telling the people to get their cows out in traffic because there was quite a lot of people.
Were you playing some trafficking there at the Craven Week? Stop, start, left, park over there, parking.
I think that's one of the things that when you're doing club rugby, and I think also at the clubs, it's not just on the field. I think from administrators, we've got to fill in and fit in wherever possible. And I think one of the areas, like we saw at Craven Week, was the traffic and the amount of people that we had.
Yeah.
So I think from administration side, if it means I've got to be traffic officer, security, we did everything. So yeah.
Well, just before we go then, because we were going to talk about this last week, Jerome, the junior structures. We might chat more about this a little bit later in the show. But the junior structures, you guys have had a lot of success. Craven Week. Undefeated, Grand Como, junior girls.
Yeah, it's for the last, JP, the last 8 years. Craven Week, if you look at that Craven Week, we won 6 out of that. So that's
the under 18s.
The under 18s, yeah. So that's good, and also the other teams did well. Also the Craven Week B team.
Does that mean we've got the best junior structures in the country?
I pretty much say so, JP. If you look at the amount of players,
well, if you look at the stats, if you say in the last 8 years,
from Cape Town playing in the other schools, and then we still produce.
Yeah. So we're the Craven Week champions in the last 8 years, 6 out of 8.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think also our girls have done well under 18 and under 16 as well. But I think latching to what Jerome said, I think the one key thing is the structure when it comes to participation, having a league and having every week strong competitive opposition that you're playing against, and that definitely helps.
And we also know, JP, like we will always lose players to other provinces, but it's what we do, and people will blame us. You can't keep everyone, but in a sense, players will come back. Even Roos played Craven Week for us. After Craven Week, he went to Sharks. He's back here.
Yeah, that's not my topic. I'm looking.
No,
at
I'm just saying we were talking about junior players.
Well, I'm looking at our successes.
So that's a success
guys have had
story.
great success on a lot of fronts here. I mean, the women's rugby is doing really well. The juniors are playing really well. You went in the last few weeks undefeated at the SA Rugby Girls Tournament. In fact, you've got more of that coming up now as well.
No, 100%. I think the one thing, I think, JP, as much as we're doing well, I think, in terms of Western Province and setting the bar and that there, we still got work to do. And I think, we're never resting. I think everybody else is catching up and everybody else is, looking at province. So from our side, it's always good to be there and doing well, but at the same time, you have a lot of people that's coming, challenging, so we've got to keep the gap open.
Faisal, while we're talking about structures, last night was, of course, and we're going to take a look. Folks, by the way, we are going to take a look at matches tonight. Strand United up against Strand. That's coming up in the next segment. Massey were up against Hamadias to determine the City League top of the log. Hamilton's had their, well, as I said, Hamilton's had their derby match, one of the oldest derby matches, in fact, in South Africa, was playing over the weekend. But Faisal, one of the things that you guys did, you got the clubs back together. Sports Science Institute this Tuesday evening, you did the top 9 draw. I mean, before we talk about the structure, how fantastic it was to see your clubs sitting there in Sports Science Institute, again, talking rugby. The stuff about those difficult times in the last 2 years were a thing of the past.
No, definitely, JP. I think, it just shows the commitment of the clubs and the strength of club rugby. I think last night, if you look at it, we had a full house in terms of all the teams present. And I think, we've had COVID, we had the challenges and that there, but I think, from a club perspective and a community, it's never about who's on top and who's winning. I think it's more about the participation. So it was fantastic to see, even though we went through this difficult times, that our clubs are still strong and surviving in that there. And I think, we can only go from strength to strength.
Yeah, well, it really was great. Jerome, you can't beat seeing each other face to face.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. That's where things happen, and you can't hide.
I mean, it's the handshaking, it's the little jokes, it's the little things that creates the gears about. And the great thing is everything is a rugby conversation. No, who's winning, who's losing.
Yeah, and what's good about rugby, and then Saturday it's war again, but then after the game it's you talk again, and that's sport. That's how it's supposed to be.
So just for the viewers' sake then, Faisal, of course, what you did last night was the annual draw, which is the top 3 from the regions, City, Southern and Northern regions.
Yeah, so last night was basically to sort of determine the second round of the competition. We're looking now more at strength versus strength. As you know, the first round was focused more on the regions in terms of where you're based, and then the second round now looks at in terms of promotion. So, the top 3 teams will, there will be 3 teams going up and 3 teams coming down. There will be playoffs that will be played. So basically for the next 10 weeks, the promotion league will be taking place. But I think what was also exciting is that from the regional side now, you now do cross. So the Northern, City and Southern is also shifting in terms of what group you're going to be playing in.
So one of the things that we've always liked about this is that where during the year you would play in one league, now you get to meet the other teams. It's a little bit like the Sevens.
No, 100%. Again, the strength versus strength is key. And I think, with clubs, the competition is what keeps, the league alive and that there. And I think last night, like you said, the excitement for a lot of them. And again, it shows, when, I wouldn't want to say, but when it comes to rugby and on the field, you have a 99% attendance. And, the excitement, I think, the pressure from the clubs as well, from my side to get the fixtures out, to make sure the planning is done. So for us, last 3 years, it's been good to see clubs back again. And like you say, the face-to-face was fantastic. No,
it is really good. I mean, I was quite emotional last night. It was actually fantastic just to be there. Folks, when we come back from the break, we're going to take a look at the match between Strand United and Strand. We will touch more on this competition structure that's coming up in the next few weeks. In fact, starts not this weekend, but the weekend after. We'll find out about some of those fixtures and the dynamics of the various pools when we come back from the break. Strand United and Strand coming up after this. All right, back, folks. Nice to have you back. Great to talk to you again here on Cape Rugby TV. You're watching Cape Town TV, DSTV channel 263. Of course, Cape Rugby TV comes to you every Wednesday night from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And in case you missed it, or you wanted to watch it again, you can see it again on a Saturday morning from 9 to 10. Right, folks, Strand United were up against Strand in Super League C this past weekend. This was a derby match. It was a top of the table 1 and 2 clash. Well, let's take a look at the first half. The following features brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Welcome back, folks. Right, so of course Strand sitting currently on the top of the log, Strand United at the bottom of the log, so a real top of the table and bottom of the log clash there. Typical derby, lots of fans. Jerome, of course Strand going half-time into the lead there, 12 points to 3. Your thoughts on the game?
No, I think it's pretty even. We all know that what Strand is on top and Strand United are not. So they was actually a good matchup. It's the only thing that Strand capitalized on there, as I see in the first half, was on the lineouts. So just a tip to Strand United: if the rule is if you don't contest in the lineout, try to steal the opposition ball, then you must be able to stop them all. So they struggle with that. They didn't have that right, and Strand obviously capitalized on that twice there with good mauling. Overall, they were, but I just say, pick up in the first half. Hopefully they'll correct it in the second half. It was a big problem in the first half.
Those are just from a derby point of view. Great to see so many fans around the field.
No, I was looking at the video. It's fantastic to see the people even sitting on top of the walls and that there. So I think that's fantastic. Like we said earlier on, it's good to be back, out in the field, out in the park. And again, like you mentioned, I think, looking at the teams, one on the top, one on the bottom. But when it comes to derby, it's even.
You can't tell the difference by just looking at these highlights.
No, definitely. I think the halftime score speaks for itself, and it shows just how tough it is out there.
Well, we don't know where the game is going to end up. You're going to have to keep watching. Let's take a look at the second half. The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, so folks, there you have the end result then. Full-time score, 36-13 to Strand. Jerome, did you think there was a change in the second half?
Still continue, JP, with the forwards mauling and score again there. So that was a big problem. And they also, I think Strand also scrummed them, so their forwards were pretty much in control. But you can see there at the end when Strand United started to throw the ball around, the defense of Strand wasn't so good. And also a great try keeping the ball through phases there at the end there. So yeah, so but it's just, I mean, they must just, the focus point must just be on the first phase aspect of the game, like the scrums in the lineouts, then they can be competitive.
Right, folks. Well, of course, as you know, every week we take a look at what's happening at MChem 24-hour pharmacy, and so I'm going to give you some of the basics again. So just so that you know, MChem is of course open 24/7, so 24-hour pharmacy, 7 days a week. This is one of the important things that you need to know. They've got specialized nursing sisters on duty. So if you need any help 24/7, you can go there and speak to one of the specialized nursing sisters, and they'll of course give you expert advice. And folks, not only expert advice from the nursing sisters, you've also got expert advice from the travel clinic, expert advice from the sports nutrition supplement section, expert advice from the orthopedic and surgical departments. Don't forget, of course, the dispensary. So expert advice is one of the absolutely important factors that MChem offers you. And of course, the helpful staff, the environment at MChem is so fantastic. There's always people there that is available to help you. They're really friendly, and it really is a fantastic, warming, comfortable environment. And that's, of course, what we've grown to expect from MChem. And of course, when you go there, it's also the variety of products, a wide variety of products. And they've often said to us that if they don't have the product, perhaps, well, then of course, they'll make sure that they find it for you. And it's not just the product range, folks. It's also the quality of the products that's so important to know, is that MChem deals with the top brands and the top manufacturers to make sure that you have got the best products for you. And of course, don't forget the fact that MChem has free parking. You can see the store behind me there in all its glory. It's on the corner of N1 and Durban Road in Belleville. And as I said, they're always there for you. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking club rugby. Right, folks, you're watching Cape Rugby TV. On the show with me this evening, Jerome Parvat, always back. Jerome, nice to have you back. Are you feeling... we're heading into the business end year of the league, so to speak, of club rugby?
Yeah, this is the great time of the season, JP, and it's always good to see how they progress and how they play up until the finals.
Yeah, it's all systems go now. Faisal, are you satisfied with the progression so far? Massey up against Hamadias in the finals here. It's been a couple of big games to determine those last few matches.
No, definitely. I think we've come to that stage, that final round, that final hurdle for a lot of the clubs. I think, you know, at the beginning, everybody feels they have a chance, they have that opportunity. I think we've come to that point now where we start separating. And I think the one good thing now is that you know, going up to the promotion league, looking at Hamadias and Massey now, the top two, you know, contenders and that there. It's a different ball game. You don't know your opposition. You don't know what to expect. So, yeah, it's exciting times ahead. And I think from a club side, you know, the last month is going to be a matter of, you know, what you're putting is what you're going to get out.
Right, well, folks, we did get the highlights from the Massey versus Hamadias game. This was, of course, the final match in the league sequence of the City League. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. The following features brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, folks, we're having off-air conversations about the logs and so on at the moment, which is, of course, when we have our best conversations. City League there. Let's start with you, Jerome. Massey going into the half-time there, leading 10 points to 3 against Hamadias.
Yeah, again, it's the same story. Their forwards are pretty much in control. You see the scrums there. You can see that Simon Blakely is an ex-prop. You can see the work that he put in up front, scrumming Hamadias there a couple of times. So yeah, they're pretty much controlling that first half. Hamadias there, twice I think they were over the line, just knocked the ball on. Bad luck to them there. And, yeah, so, but it's pretty even.
Pretty even at the moment.
Yeah.
But Faisal, both these clubs, Massey and Hamadias, long strides in the last few years.
No, I think the club have done fantastic work. I think lots of hard work, especially like from Massey's side and also from Hamadias, the executive, the administrators that's running the club and that there. So it's nice to see they reaping the rewards. And like you said earlier on, it's a top of the charts clash in that there. So yeah, it's tight.
Great rugby. This is what we're looking for. Great rugby. Great club rugby. So Hamadias were down, of course, 3 points to 10. Massey Phumelela going strong into the second half. Let's see if they can turn it around. The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, there we go, folks. Congratulations then to Hamadias. Jerome, did you think that there was going to be a turnaround?
If I look at the first half, it doesn't look. It looks like more one way. Though I said like Hamadias, you could see they're catching up towards the end there. But yeah, great result, and I see like Hamadias. Actually, I know the coach spoke at halftime, and you can see that they got their forwards. They were actually mauling Massey Phumelela there at the end. Yeah, but it's a great result.
So Faisal, it's a little bit like you were saying. I mean, you've got two teams here at the top of the log, And this, we don't often see turnarounds like this, but this, again, because there was a turnaround from the first half to the second half, it goes to show that both teams are quite equal.
No, definitely. I think it's a great spectacle for club rugby, and I think this is what we want. You know, on the day it's undecided, any team can win. You know, it's, you know, you got to play for 80 minutes. I think that's what it boils down to. So I think from a club rugby perspective, you know, it's a fantastic result. It's fantastic, as I said, you know, showcase for club rugby.
Yeah. Folks, let's quickly take a look then where the log ended in the City League. Well, it was, of course, Hamadias then ending at the top of the pile, and Massey then in second place in the City League. And so, fantastic result there, and congratulations to Hamadias on ending at number. Does that mean, Faisal, that they are the league winners for City League? Or does that get determined in the next
So basically, they have obviously won the first round of the competition. And that day.
Do they get a trophy?
They get a trophy, and then now all it means is those top three teams in the log basically will you know, move to the next.
So can Hamadias now say that they are the City League champions?
They're the City League champions.
They're the City League champions. Well done, Hamadias. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, at least one of South Africa's oldest derbies between two of South Africa's oldest teams. We managed to get some of the highlights. Hamilton's against Villages. That comes after the break. Don't go away. Everybody, you're watching Cape Rugby TV. It's great to have you here. All right, folks, so as we said before the break, two of South Africa's oldest teams, Hamilton's and Villages, and of course one of South Africa's oldest derbies. Then of course they went head-to-head this weekend in Super League A. Of course, you remember last week we had Coach Robert Olivier on the show with us, and they were kind enough to send us some of the highlights. Let's take a look here at the first half. The following features brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Welcome back, folks. Right, so Jerome, back to you, Mania. Hamilton's leading 8 points to 3. Looks like they got the upper hand.
Yeah, it's pretty even. We saw at halftime now. I mean, Hamilton scored the only try in the first half, and at halftime they got a penalty. Villagers got a penalty, kicked it over. Pretty much even, but Hamilton's looked like the team in this first half who was in control. I mean, that was always the case. I mean, we know that Villagers were struggling in the beginning, but they're not. Seems like they're not giving up there. They're still in the game there. 8-3, anything can still happen.
8-3 going into the half-time there. Hamilton's leading 8 points to 3 over Villagers. Of course, Super League A derby match. Let's take a look at the second half. The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. All right, there we go, folks. Wow. Turnaround there. Halftime, of course, saw Villagers down 3 points to 8. Jerome, tables turned. Villagers walking away. They're 16-11 with a win over Hamilton.
It was right till the end there. In the last 4 minutes, it was quite tight, but it was right till the end there. And a great game. I mean, it's always the old rivalries. Always. I mean, in the past, Villagers were struggling.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that they're building and getting back there, and it makes a fair competition between the rivalries and between the derby game. But a good game of rugby, and I think that Villagers, they didn't stop. They fought hard to come back and to win this game. At the end, there, so it was pretty even. And yeah, I think it's just bad luck to Hamilton.
Yeah, Faisal, typical sort of clash that maybe you look for in the Super League A?
No,
Two teams going hammer and tongs, and discipline and small mistakes make the difference at the end.
no, definitely. I think, the one thing I'm sort of lost for words, I think this season when it comes to club rugby, especially in the Super League A, has been a very, I wouldn't say confusing, but very unpredictable season. I think if I look at, in the past you would have the top guns that, these teams will pull through, definitely 5 points. If I look at it now, the last couple of upsets that we've had, it's open game. Anybody can take it. Villages have now closed the gap a bit. So, with the current competition and format in the top 6, anything can happen. They all of a sudden become contenders.
I mean, that's what makes club rugby so exciting is you never know which way it's going to go. And you certainly can't do any predictions before the season.
No, definitely. I think, JP, it shows again, like in the past, you play up until the last.
Yeah.
Like you play the 80 minutes here, anything happens half time, second half you pull through. The same happens in the league. You play up until that last match if you want to win the league. So it's fantastic.
Folks, other results, of course, last week. So there was, of course, a win there for Villages. 13 points to 12, eventually, a 1-point win. And then, of course, last week, Wednesday, saw a win for Kales River over SK Warmers. They played at the track. Kales River now jump a few spots on the log and have actually managed to claw back a few spots. Folks, Score Energy Drinks, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV and the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. This is your opportunity now to see who was last week's winner of the Case of Score, where we do the Spot the Ball competition that you can do on Facebook. I'm going to ask Faisal Felton and Jerome Parvata now if they would like to give it a go in terms of spotting the ball. Let's see now, Jerome, there, you have these options, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, and C3. Your prediction, Jerome?
If I look at it, JP, I want to say B2, but I think I'm gonna go for C3.
You're gonna go with C3. C3 is your prediction, okay, Jerome. Faisal, you I don't know how you've managed your success on this competition, but anyway, let's give you a go.
I think I'll go with A1.
You're going to go with A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. Right, folks, I'm going to go with B3 this week. Let me see where we're at in terms of the winners. Oh, there we go. All right, I'll take the time.
Is it B3 or C3?
No, it's B3.
It looks in between, on the line.
It's B3. Yeah, it's on the line. Then congratulations. Congratulations to last week's winner, Lance Snyders. Lance, we'll reach out to you on Facebook Messenger. We'll get hold of you. Congratulations. You walk away this week with a case of Score Energy Drinks. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it was, of course, the draw for the top 9, as well as the 4-2-9 in the regional leagues. The competition structure now changes as we go into the second round. We'll speak to Faisal Felton, Jerome Parvat about that after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Cape Rugby TV. Yesterday was a fantastic occasion at the Sports Science Institute. Faisal, just give us a quick rundown. We were, of course, there with the cameras. We'll take a look at some of the highlights. What were you doing there?
So, as we said earlier on, tonight was basically to determine the second round of the competition. We had, the Northern City and Southern competing. Basically, the top 3 from each of the Northern City and Southern will now form the promotional league, to determine who moves up to Super League C. So everybody's vying for their 3 positions in terms of, being able to move up to Super C.
So will you have for the promotion league then, which are the top 3 winners from each one of those leagues, will they now end up with log points in the promotion league with that will give you your 1 and 2?
So from the promotion league, everybody's back to normal square.
Yeah.
You obviously had 3 teams that competed against each other in the prelim round, but now with the promotion league, everything is back to normal base. Everybody starts on 0, and you've got 10 weeks of rugby, jam-packed. Yeah, so it's exciting.
Is it 2 or 3 that goes up?
You have basically it's 3 teams that have opportunity. They play against the top 2 automatic, and then 3 and 4 will play to determine who plays number 13 in Super League C.
Let's catch up with. Well, let's take a look at some of the folks that we managed to catch up with there at the draw at Sports Science last night. Folks, Said Blake with me now, chairman of Manenberg Rangers. Said, lekker occasion.
Absolutely, JP. It's absolutely brilliant to be back amongst the rugby guys.
Tonight's draw, you got any sights on any teams?
Let me be a philosopher. You cannot fear the unseen, JP. You cannot fear the unseen. We up to it. There's some good teams. All the teams basically is very competitive. We just need to be alert. Whoever's coming on our way to see what we can do.
We leave it at that.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you to Cape Rugby for all the work they do.
Folks, with me now, Mohammed Steerman is of course from Caledonia Roses, no stranger to Cape Rugby TV. We haven't seen him with us now since COVID times. Mohammed, great to see everybody back.
Yes, JP. It's awesome to be with the guys itself, face to face, and obviously placing, the role players in the club. So it's always good to be with the guys. Yeah.
How things going at Cali's?
Look, we're in the building phase. I would like to call it that. Not a great season so far, but I do take my hat off to the players and the guys that just turn up, week after week.
Did they say where your first who's going to be your first opponent at Null?
Not yet. The draw's taken place. We're playing against Gardens again, and we've got a couple of other teams, 40 that we've never played against. For Santa Caral, those are teams that we've never ever played against. So we will be meeting them in the second round.
Yeah. Mohammed Steerman, we'll leave it at that, Mania.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to say thank you very much. It's a privilege to talk to you, and so glad to see you again.
Always
physically.
Physically, no, but I'm just a phone call away. So make use of the opportunity. But thank you very much for this opportunity as well.
Mense, saam met my nou is Nazim Murad. Hy is van Titans Rugby Football Club in Grassy Park. Natuurlik is hulle vir Gino Topley onthou wat so baie saam met ons gejoin het. Nazim, lekker aan vanaand.
Dank. Ja, het was lekker aan, ons lekker gedra. En ons sien vorentoe na die wedstryde.
Busy Corners as seker happy wees.
Nee, hulle is baie happy met ons en ons is baie happy met hulle.
Nazim, ons los hom daar so good luck vir die seisoen. Ek dink dit gaan 'n uitstekende nuwe tweede season van die liga wees.
Definitief ja. Okay, dankie.
Mense, Moses Matroos van Young Wesley saam met my nou. Moses, lekker om die rugby mense terug te sien vanaand.
Ja, dit is ons ook 'n plesier om terug te wees. Ons lekker na die COVID en al die gevalle wat ons weg het met die clubs en die situasies. Maar vir ons as Club Fontaine Young Wesley's is dit baie nice om terug te wees vir rugby, veral ons ondersteuners.
Hulle het nou gedra hierso vanaand. Hoe lyk dinge vir julle?
Man, volgens die draw, ek wil nog nie voor dit praat nie, maar ek en die delegaat nog nie gepraat. Volgens die draw lyk dit vir ons baie goed. Ons dink ons gaan dit maak behalwe as 'n nuwe span wat ons nog nie gespeel het, die Lamot. So ek wil jy ek wil sommer hier vra JP dat hy game vir ons moet doen vir Lamot. Dis die eerste keer wat ons Lamot speel.
Ons los hom daarso, dis lekker om julle weer te sien.
Ja, dankie JP.
Faisal, of course, a great opportunity there for folks to get together, have a bit of a conversation with each other. But in addition to the promotion league, you also go into a second round now for the teams that were positioned 4 to 9.
Yeah, so the second round of this competition, as you said earlier on, is now to play across. So, it gives the clubs, opportunity to play against other teams from other areas and that there. So I think, as much as you've got the promotion league, there's still that excitement and the challenge in terms of playing against other opposition now from the other areas and that there.
We managed to speak to some of the guys that are of course now getting ready for the promotion league. Let's hear what they had to say. Folks, with me is Philip Marquise. He's, of course, the chairperson of Northern's Rugby Football Club. Philip, you're back. It's exciting. Clubs are doing the draw again. Good day for club rugby.
Definitely, JP, it's good to be back, and for us, it's really with all the challenges that we have at the club, it's really good for us to get the opportunity to go and play for higher honours.
So you did the draw tonight. Any big names jumping out for you there?
Yeah, definitely Hamadias who's standing behind me, and we'll ready, and we'll, as I've said, we'll bring the A game for anybody who's coming our way.
All strong stuff tonight, folks, here in the big draw. Philip, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, JP.
Folks, with me now, Alim Saleh is, of course, Hamadias. Big season for you guys.
Yeah, so far it's been a big season, been good. First round. Now we're excited for the second round.
Of course, you got a massive match against Massey now.
Yeah, Friday night was a very exciting game. It was quite cold, but it was a good game. It was a good game, good result for us.
So tell us about the draw, big night. What a fantastic occasion to see club people together again.
Nah, it's good. It's always good to see all the people together. Fixtures, I think we're quite happy with our fixtures. I think the two bigger clubs, we're getting home. Blakes and Van der Stel, we're getting home. So I think we're happy about that. But yeah, let's take it one game at a time.
Alim, good luck.
Thanks so much, man. See you.
Folks, with me now, Simelo Douglas. He's, of course, from Laguna Rugby Football Club. Nice to be playing rugby again.
Yeah, very nice. It's been a long, unneeded break. Definitely unneeded, but it's nice to be back on the field.
How's the vibe with the players?
The vibe is quite good. We've got a very young, energetic team, so that's nice. Right now, it's quite sad for us. We just had one of our players pass away. So we've buried him this weekend, and currently today we have a memorial service, so I need to rush there after this.
Well, we're sorry to hear that, Simela.
So yeah, so we're sorry for the teams that are coming up against, so we're dedicating this whole second round to him.
Any tough teams on the cards for you guys?
Look, we're saying there's no tough team now. They need to be over for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Massey game, the Hamadias, I think those are going to be the toughest games we're going to play.
Jerome, the clubs would now have had an opportunity to get through the sort of the, let's say, almost like a filtering process, but they've also definitely, the rust is off the table. I suppose, and this week they have a bit of a break, but for many of these teams now, it'll be, especially playing, they would never have played against each other. This will be their first time tackling each other with a very serious objective to get into Super League C.
We all know, JP, how the leagues are. In certain leagues, you can see that there are teams that, I mean, we talk a lot about guys playing lower down. You can see the players that they have and the coaching that's in there. So the gap is not that big. So that's why we always see, come this time, there's not surprises, but guys from lower can beat a guy that's a bit higher.
What about from a player management perspective now? I mean, you've gone through 9 games already, or 10 games. You would, by now, you would have figured out your combinations, but you would also know which players have maybe got a few niggles. What are the kind of things that you'd be thinking about now?
That, JP, a lot of teams struggle to get that right, because you think you play against a team that's is not in your league, so you can rest a few of your players.
Yeah.
So then they make a mistake, they rest their guys, then all of a sudden they lose a game. Then it becomes everybody's problem except who make the decision. If you make the decision, you must make the right decision. Like you say, if a guy struggles with a kneel, don't play him. Rather play a fresh guy. But if the guy is fine and he played all the games and he's fine and he's good to go, play, because you still have to win the game.
Yeah. Faisal, the other thing is, of course, in Super League A at some other stage, that will finish, and then you will end up with the top 6 in the Super Leagues.
Yeah, so you basically have the Champions League in the sense of those top 6 will now compete in terms of promotion and that thing.
Right.
But I think JP, the one thing I think we also need to understand is from when it comes to the regions, and I think, we mustn't forget we've had, 3 years or, in terms of no rugby. And I think that for us is the success story when it comes to the teams, especially now in the regions where it is tough, it is a struggle. But I, must commend the clubs in terms of what we've achieved and how, they've successfully pulled through. And I think that again was evident, in last night's meeting. And I think the build-up now with COVID, I think is, we've agreed to have at least 2 teams, per club.
Yeah.
But I think come next year we're moving back to 3 teams. So it's also a building process. So the success is not so much the promotion. I think the success is having teams and actually having to have competed, during this difficult times that we've had in that day. So, well done to all the clubs that were there, and the work is still hard work ahead.
Very exciting, and hats off to all of the clubs. It was fantastic to see such a full house there yesterday. Jerome, thanks for joining us. Great to have you in studio again.
Always a pleasure, JP.
Fraser Felton, good luck that side. I know you've got a lot of admin to do, and we're looking forward to the next couple of weeks.
No, definitely. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, and hopefully I can be back next week.
100%. The 2 of you are booked for next week, same time, same place. Right, folks, that's a wrap from us. We will see you again next week, same time, same place. And fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.